Welcome to Extra Time. We seem to have a lot of questions today. Let's get through them, shall we? Coutinho versus Eriksen. Who is better? Should Barca have gone for Eriksen because he had clearly been better than Coutinho last season?
Is that two of the questions or one question?
That's one question in one tweet.
Well, regardless of who you think is better...
Oh, let's ask that. Who is better?
I prefer Coutinho.
Well, I'm just going to say... See, you just asked the question that I told you I wasn't going to answer, basically. Because just... I said, regardless of who you think is better, right? Eriksen likes to play inside. And unfortunately for Eriksen, Barcelona have a guy called Messi who plays inside in the middle. So why would you sign Eriksen anyway?
Who's better?
So you never listened to a word they said?
I did, but just a general conversation.
Well, what do you think I'm going to say?
I don't know.
Have a wild guess, and who do you think I'm going to say is better?
I can't.
Come on,
I can't second guess you, Steve Nicol, can I?
50-50.
It's not my job.
50-50. Who am I going to say?
I'm not going to put words in your mouth. I can't just assume you're going to say Liverpool every time.
Well, how long have you been here?
I knew.
Why is that? Of course I will. See, now you know what it's like when somebody won't answer your question. Right?
What are you talking about? How have you proved it?
Well, you can't push me for an answer. Now I'm pushing you and you won't give me it.
What was the question?
Now you know what it's like.
What's the question?
Well,
that was a statement, not a question.
I don't even want to bother talking to you.
I didn't know you even asked me a question.
Who?
Oh, crikey.
So you never asked that. You never answered that question that he never asked you.
I
did ask you a question.
What was the question?
I said, what do you think I'm going to say?
Oh, my crikey.
Well, that's not a question then.
Sorry.
If Mane continues to have a stellar season for Liverpool, what would his value be considering today's crazy market? Lots.
A lot. Next.
Who would you prefer, Mane or Coutinho?
You going to answer this
well,
one?
under normal circumstances, I would answer that, but because it's you, I'm not going to answer it.
I reckon I'll sleep tonight, OK? Does Steve believe that Southampton should act like Coutinho with Virgil van Dijk and not sell him at any price? Same with Monaco and Lamar.
Actually, no. I certainly don't agree with players bullying their way out of contracts. But at the same time, Southampton are a selling club. And so, pretty much they need the money. So when it's such a good offer, then you have to take it if you're Southampton.
Why do they need the money?
Well, they obviously do, because every time they keep selling all the players. They've been selling the players for years.
Raf's here. Raf.
Raf's had to listen to that. Goodness me.
Where will Thomas Tuchel coach next?
I think in the Premier League.
There you go.
Arsenal. He wants to come to England. He's waiting for things to happen. His people denied very strongly the suggestion that there were any real negotiations with Chelsea going on of a Conte perhaps leaving, but he is waiting for that kind of offer to be made to him.
There you go.
Why is he? Why?
He's second favourite in the betting.
For what?
For the Arsenal job.
Okay. Who's favourite?
Why?
Simeone. Third favourite, Patrick Vieira.
What are you looking at me for?
I don't know, you've got a computer.
You keep saying why. You keep saying...
Well, I sort of know. He's just...
Your fourth favourite. But not according to those Huddersfield fans you were arguing with on Twitter.
Please check out that thread. Please check out that thread. It was fantastic.
Goodness.
What a pair of numpties.
Oh, it was brilliant.
What a pair.
I like them. Do you think if Sanchez ends up at Manchester City, they'll have a legitimate chance in the Champions League?
No. I still think they've got a fair bit to go at the other end.
Raf, what do you think?
I don't think they're too far off. You know, they're teams ahead of them that are favourites. But if Monaco can make it to the semi-final, if Dortmund can get to the final, if Atletico Madrid, who I think are not that much better a team than Man City, can make it to finals, I don't see why they shouldn't have a very successful season. I think he could make the difference.
And finally, this guy really doesn't like me, I don't think. He tweets me quite a lot to say that I should be sacked. He's a West Ham fan. Shaka, can you please have a word with David Gold and David Sullivan? They need guidance.
Yeah, to be honest, I've never been convinced by their ownership. I find them a little bit trigger-happy, a little bit haphazard in their approach. I like Slaven Bilic. Let me just come out and say that. And all the talk, the kind of speculation, the pressure they put on Slaven Bilic, I don't think is right.
Okay. Right.
I don't like you either. Think about it. I'm a West Ham fan. I don't like you either.
Oh, that's fair enough.
They're
Good.
rotten.
Oh.
West Ham.
Oh,
They were rotten last year.
They
And
moved
they've
to a new
started this year
stadium. They
rotten
moved to a new
again.
stadium.
So-
That was the excuse. They moved to a new stadium. Oh, they're just getting warm.
That's it. ESPN FC is back tomorrow. Gareth Bale once again linked to a move to United. This off the back of a poor performance in that 2-2 draw against Valencia. He was booed off the pitch, didn't put in a particularly good show. Is there...
See, the Real Madrid fans need to get a hold of themselves here. Because, you know, he's had this before. They clearly know the fella is a good player. Are they that stupid that nobody's allowed to have a bad game? Or is it just the fact that Asensio's come along now and everything in the world is great and we can get rid of Gareth? Well, for the same thing that we're talking about Man City, Zidane knows down the line with La Liga and the Champions League and how strong they are that he's going to need Bale at some point. So I don't buy this at all.
So here's the thing. If you've got Real Madrid, you know, the Real Madrid coaches and the players know how good he is. The fans and the environment. It's a situation where you're just like, but why bother? You know, you've got them saying every day, Isco should play, Asensio should play. Why don't you come to England as like a returning hero, if you like?
Asensio's doing great at the moment. He's potentially got a fantastic future. But over the season, a fit Gareth Bale is probably going to give you as much, if not more, going forward than those younger players, particularly Asensio over his...
But you've got Isco as well in the mix. Like, he always seems to be up against it, Bale, because of the fact he's not Spanish. You know, it seems to play a big part. They were talking yesterday, well, he hasn't learned the language. He hasn't tried to adapt here.
And who's the one thing that's never been quoted and said he's unhappy? Gareth Bale.
Look,
everybody else is saying
I'm just saying, if it was you...
If I'm Gareth Bale, and I'm sitting in that Real Madrid dressing room, and kind of seeing how things are developed. Never mind the reaction of the crowd. I'm 28 years old. I still think I've got another couple of years. I'm sure that's what Zidane is saying there. You also witnessed this same Real Madrid crowd over the last 12 months whistle Karim Benzema, whistle Cristiano Ronaldo. So now all of a sudden they're whistling me. I don't see that as being an issue.
Here's
the big problem. Here's the problem. If you understand to Real Madrid fans...
My point is, and never mind, you understand the fickle nature of that fan base in particular. No. It's 6 months ago they were whistling Cristiano Ronaldo. So you understand there's only a matter of time, there's only a couple of performances before that changes. I'm not put off by this. Not this early into this transition, if you want to call it
If
that.
it doesn't change, though, then that's a completely different story. Because, listen, I've never been booed by my home fans, but I can't imagine anything worse as a football player as being booed by your own. I mean, how bad is that?
Wow.
So he's got.
So it would play a part in your decision making.
Absolutely.
Not as bad as you think. Not as bad as you think, Stevie.
Just because you're not being booed by your own fans, all right? Stuff you.
Craig, you get booed walking in your own home.
Yeah, exactly.
I do. My kids boo me. It's part of life. You know, it's like part of being a footballer. You got.
It does not play in your psyche at all.
Yeah.
It's got to, hasn't it? You think, oh, sod you, I'm going to go to England, where at least people appreciate me more. And I don't have to keep proving myself every damn week.
Well, you say that, but you go into Man United and you have a bad time, you're going to get the same scenario.
But I don't think you do.
No.
Because he's Gareth Bale, because he's British. I think it makes a difference.
What do you mean, no?
Who was the last United player that got booed all the time with the home fans?
No,
They don't do that. They don't do that.
Oh, they never boo. Man United fans never boo their own player. No, never. They're just perfect. Liverpool fans never boo their own players.
Not constantly.
He's not getting booed constantly. We're
to
talking
the point of
this is nonsense.
It makes you move.
He had a bad game. He got booed. He had an injury-ravaged season last year.
Here's the problem. They won the Champions League without him.
Yes.
This is the thing. You've not only got Asensio, you've got Isco fighting for his position, and he's under pressure. And I'm just saying, just from a player's point of view, is there not just part of you that just thinks, you know what? I'm going to go.
I'm living in Madrid. It's great. I'm playing for a great club. I could win the Champions League 3 times in a row. Ronaldo's not getting any younger either. The youngsters in Asensio and other players will be up and down because that's what youngsters do. I need to get myself fit if I'm Gareth Bale, and I need to get my head down and fight for my place. I would not be looking to go back to the Premier League and Man United or anybody else if I was him. No. At this point, absolutely not.
Too soon, in my opinion.
He's won 3 Champions League. It'll go back as a...
Do you want him out? Sorry? Do you want him out?
I don't want him out, but I understand why, if I was in his position, I'd just say, you know what, I'm going to leave.
If they're sustained over the next 5 or 6 months, yes. Maybe come January, you start thinking that way. But at this point, no.
Some are suggesting that he'll be unveiled at the end of the week. Some are saying that he's staying at Liverpool. One of those people, in fact, Liverpool CEO, is saying that he's not for sale and nothing has changed.
And I tend to believe him because this has been Liverpool's consistent line over the last few weeks. Absolutely unequivocal, not leaving any possibility of saying, you know, for the right money or we can consider this. They've really put their neck on the line over this, FSG, and I don't see how they can stand down without losing a lot of face, without you know, doing a lot of damage to their relationship with the club and with the fans. And I think they're serious people. If they really thought about selling him, they could have just kept an ambivalent silence and not go into these details again and again, saying he will not be sold. And these reports are coming out because on the other side, Barcelona and the player side, they're still trying to push things along. And, you know, when the player says that he still feels that he might get a move, that's reported as news. But it only really says to you that somebody is trying to make the deal happen. But the people who hold all the balls, hold all the cards, I should say, are Liverpool. And I just don't think they want to sell.
Let's just remind you of Coutinho's stats. They don't exactly blow you away. They don't suggest that he's a $150 million player. He's never going to be worth this again, is he?
Oh, no, absolutely not. And on top of that, he might not get his move and might find himself on the bench for the time being because Mane and Salah, albeit against a hapless Arsenal team, did a great job at the weekend, and he has to fight for his place back in the team, which I'm sure he'll get at some point. But with Liverpool's interest in Lemar from Monaco, it makes you think, and I haven't heard that if that was going to be done or not, but if they do get Lemar, I think that would open the door for this potentially to happen.
How are you feeling, Stevie?
Fantastic. I'm very confident that nothing's going to happen. And I can't disagree with you when you say you look at those stats and it's not exactly a 150 million guy, but it's not really about the money or anything else. It's about the Fenway Group making a statement that they want Liverpool to try and get back to where they were many moons ago at the top of the tree.
Don't they need to buy a defender or two for that then?
Well, they do.
It's all right saying I'm not selling Coutinho, but you know what?
And again, I'm not going to argue with that either. But at the same time, they're not letting their best players go, and that's a statement in itself.
I think it's an incredible statement because even in this inflated transfer market, that's twice what Coutinho is worth, quite easily. So from a purely a business point of view, it's bemusing to turn that kind of money down, but it sends absolutely right signals to Liverpool, to their fans, and just as importantly for me, to the players, in that they're in control. I said a few weeks ago, I have no sympathy at all for Coutinho. Poor representation. You sign a new contract in January, and then all of a sudden you go in on this mini strop/strike. That's on you, and I have no sympathy for it.
I think the biggest message here has been sent to Jurgen Klopp. Yep. You think about how many coaches and managers over the years at big clubs have had the rug pulled from under their feet when they didn't want it. If Stevie said the Fenway Group just say no, come Thursday when this is all over, you're not signing him, I think that's sent to Jurgen Klopp. Listen, we're going to do our damnedest to make sure they need to buy some defenders, but we're going to make sure to do our damnedest that we're not selling your best players.
Could you be getting a big defender in Van Dijk? This is it. Now, the big question is he going to come in, if he does come in, and actually do well? The reason I ask that, Lovren hasn't done anything since he left Southampton. Font can't even get in the West Ham team.
No. Listen, I can't turn around and just say, yes, he's going to do great. But the fact is, the chances of him being better than what Liverpool have are pretty high because they really are struggling big time. And all we can do is look at his short spell of time he's had in the Premier League, and he's been fantastic. I was surprised how good he's been. And he's better than what
Lovren was great, though. Rotherham was just as good at Southampton, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. Listen, some people can't handle playing
Don't worry
at a
them.
big. Some people can't handle playing at a big club. That's just.
Well,
a
they'll be
fact.
all right at Liverpool then.
So hopefully Van Dijk can handle it and shows exactly what he's been shown in the time he's been in the Premier League. But even if they do get him, it's going to take him some time to get up to speed because
not really.
He's not kicked a ball. He's not kicked a ball.
Get up to whose speed?
Yeah.
Van Dijk.
Yeah. Welcome to the team, Virgil. I introduce you to our left back, Alberto Moreno. Good luck. That's another problem. Played really well at the weekend. He's good going forward, but that's another issue they've got on the left back. Andrew Robertson, of course, the young boy came in from Scottish player, didn't play at the weekend. His wife gave birth, but Stevie said anything has to be.
Really?
You've got to take a chance. You've
all
got
you
to
can
take a chance.
do with your team at any time is try and upgrade all the time. And that's what they're doing. They've signed the Keita guy. That's what they're doing there. And they'll do the same if they sign Van Dijk. That's all you can do.
So let's talk about Manchester City then, and in particular one player, because if we take a look at Pep Guardiola's preferred starting 11 from that match against Bournemouth, it would suggest that Alexis Sanchez would come in to replace Sterling, and still there is no room for Kun Aguero. In fact, with the addition of Sanchez, you could argue that he goes lower down the pecking order. So if you're Kun Aguero over the next 48 hours, are you saying to your representatives, get me out of here? It's a World Cup year. I want to be playing. I want to be getting goals.
I think you're backing up the wrong tree here. Listen, if Kun Aguero had started the season on the bench, then 100%, if I'm him, I'm getting my representatives to get me out of here because of what happened at the end of last season when he found himself on the bench. But for me, he starts the first 2 games. And for me, he didn't start the 3rd game because of his form. So I don't see Aguero leaving, but if I'm him and I'm not starting, I'm definitely off. But I don't think he will be because I think Pep is going to switch his team around. He's got so many players that he has to make sure he looks after. And that means that some games Aguero won't start.
But he's got to convince him that that's what he's going to do. Because we saw it last year and we saw it at Bournemouth at the weekend. When push comes to shove, and it was clear in the first 2 games that he was trying that partnership out with Jesus. It didn't quite work. So he went back to what they were doing last year. And when it came to the shove, it was the youngster that got the nod, not Aguero.
I think Pep has done a really good job in convincing Kun Aguero that he's part of his
bench.
plans. No, but if I'm Kun Aguero, ever since Gabriel Jesus got in and started getting nodded ahead of me second half of last season, I'm having my representatives look around, know who's looking at what level is their interest. Okay, you get back in the squad because of Jesus' injury. So if at this stage, 48 hours before they close the transfer window, there still isn't a whole lot more noise from Kun Aguero in terms of leaving or clubs being interested, at this point, I think he's happy with whatever it is Pep is selling.
So would you be happy?
I have no problem moving. If I'm Kun Aguero, I have no problem moving. I just don't think that Arsenal is a likely destination.
There's a little problem. It's not up to you whether you move. It's not up to
Aguero. But we know player power, and we know, and we've talked about it at length on this show, haven't we, about how much they have these days. If Kun Aguero wants to move, he could move.
Yeah.
No, he can't. It's the same situation that Liverpool
Neymar
have
left
with
Barcelona.
Coutinho.
If Neymar can leave Barcelona, anyone can leave anywhere.
Yeah, but Neymar
Not if he say no.
he had a buyout clause. No?
Well, it's a fair point.
Unless he's got a buyout clause.
All Man City's got to do is say no. We've got the Champions League. We need to do well in that. We want to win the Premier League. We want to do well in the FA Cup. They can't go letting Aguero go. If they let Aguero go, they're absolutely crackers. I don't care how much money anybody offers them.
As strange as it may seem, he was left on the bench. I don't think the player is particularly unhappy. Right? One, he's been at the club. If he'd been at the club a year, I would say he'd probably go. He's got a great affiliation with the fans. He loves his time at the club. His rapport with the whole people there is fantastic. And I think the manager, as Xhaka said, is doing a good job, or has probably done a good job of saying, listen, we're fighting on at least 4 fronts. One of those is the Champions League, and you're going to play more often than you don't play, and I'm going to rotate it. If he has said that to him, he's got a chance. But I think if there's one player that's going to be not leaving City, then it'll be Aguero. I think it could be somebody else in the Sanchez deal, but I don't think it'll be him.
Interesting times at Arsenal, and it seems like things are about to get a bit more interesting. Shaka Hissop is here with me. Shaka, so here's the deal. We know that Manchester City seems to be interested in Alexis Sanchez, and he does seem to want to leave Arsenal. So they're willing to give Raheem Sterling as well as some money for him. Do Arsenal take this deal?
I'm not certain. On the one hand, I think Alexis Sanchez needs to go. Alexis Sanchez needs to go for himself. Alexis Sanchez needs to go for Arsenal Football Club. And as the Liverpool results show, there are huge and deep problems at Arsenal, which I don't think Alexis Sanchez is helping in any way. Clearly distracted, clearly a distraction. So he needs to go. Add to the fact that in 12 months' time, he leaves on a free transfer. So I think Arsenal need to get rid of Alexis Sanchez and could do with getting the money in. Now, whether Raheem Sterling is the right fit for Arsenal as well is the other question.
We want to go, though, because you'd think now with the way things are going at City and Arsenal, why would he want to really go?
I'm not sure that Raheem Sterling wants to go. On the one hand, maybe Pep Guardiola has convinced him that he's not a part of his plans, which I don't really see. I thought Raheem Sterling was very good last year, very good under Pep Guardiola. And if you look back to pre-Pep, how disappointing he was at the Etihad. I just, if I'm Raheem Sterling, I want to stay and try to build on that good season, try to build on what I've quite clearly learned and continue to learn under Pep Guardiola. So I'm not sure that Sterling wants or needs to go right now either. Maybe he feels that he can fit in and he can be a bigger player at Arsenal, certainly right now, than he is at Manchester City, and maybe that has some of the attraction. I think there's a need for Arsenal on that right-hand side. Quite clearly, Oxlade-Chamberlain, equally distracted and a distraction. And I don't think Theo Walcott delivered on some of the promise that came with his signing, and he's been there nearly 10 years now, and I don't think Theo Walcott has delivered at all. So there is a need, but I'm not sure Sterling is the right player, or Sterling himself would want to go to Arsenal right now.
All right, thanks so much, Shaka Hislop. So interesting scenario. This one, we'll continue tracking it here at ESPNFC.com. Shaka Hislop is joining me. We're talking Liverpool. Shaka, Liverpool making use of what's left of the transfer window this week. Naby Keita seems to be ready to become a Liverpool man. Of course, he will join them next summer. Leipzig definitely not wanting to let him go just now. Spoke to Craig Burley about this just yesterday, and he said this deal makes a lot of sense for Liverpool.
It does, and as much as maybe there was an immediate need for Liverpool to add to their summer signings, Robertson, Mo Salah, the only one of significant note, and then the continuing situation around Philippe Coutinho, maybe Liverpool fans would have liked to see another rival. But this is a player that Jurgen Klopp quite clearly likes, wanted to get in this summer. Leipzig not prepared to do business this summer. There was a buyout clause that kicked in next year, and Liverpool kind of preempted that, given the way the market has kind of mushroomed over the course of this summer. I think this is a good move by Liverpool, by Jurgen Klopp, and a player that he quite clearly likes. Now it's a calculated gamble. You know, what if Naby Keita doesn't have the season that many thinks he would or hope to have? On the other hand, if he does, what does that do for his price tag? What does that do for his interest? Can Liverpool still get this signing that they want? So at 48 million, albeit in 12 months' time, this makes a lot of business sense down the road. Maybe it doesn't tick the boxes for Liverpool fans as of right now, but in terms of Liverpool's own planning, I think this is an incredible signing for them.
I agree with you as well. He is quite the talent. Thanks so much, Shaka Hislop. So Naby Keita is set to join Liverpool next year.